What's going on, boys and girls? Today we're taking a look at the very exciting heavyweight contest on UFC 299. The main event of prelims, streaking, currently undefeated in the UFC, Jailton Almeida takes on Curtis Blaydes in what is a rare grappler versus grappler matchup in the heavyweight division. Jailton Almeida has gone on to submit multiple opponents before coming up on his recent unanimous decision over Derek Lewis. Meanwhile, Curtis Blaydes is back and forth, but he's never lost a fight via grappling. He's only ever been TKO'd twice by Francis, once by Derek Lewis, once by Pavlovich, and they've all started on the feet and were finished by Blaydes getting rocked and finished. So this fight is as unpredictable as it gets, with two guys with extreme skills on the ground, but in very different areas, kind of. Jailton Almeida's wrestling is very good, but I would say that Almeida's more of the jiu-jitsu specialist in the heavyweight division who knows how to work positions once he gets a takedown, and then there's Curtis Blaydes who's looking to take you down and smash your fucking face in. So this is an absolutely intriguing fight for me. Let's take a look at the recent fights and try and leave you with the best bet or avoid a bad bet. So let's get straight into this video without further ado.
Oh, Till's out! It's over! No. It's over! It's over! That's what I'm saying, boy! Oh! He got dropped! It's over! It's over! Munoz! Oh my God!
Jailton Almeida has had a pretty interesting career before the UFC and in the UFC. He has gone to his heaviest weight class in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, fighting in his regional career as low as middleweight up to light heavyweight before getting into the UFC as a light heavyweight, and now he's competing in the heavyweight division. So you'd think he has a small frame, but he does not. He is still 6'3". He doesn't have very significant losses in height or reach, even though he gives up an inch in each, but the weight advantage is going to be there for Curtis Blaydes, whose last weigh-in was 262 versus Almeida's 236. And I don't think this is as big of an issue for the heavier heavyweight like I would in some other fights, because Curtis Blaydes is one of the better athletes of the division, which makes this fight as interesting as it could be for me, and honestly extremely hard to bet on. Let's take a look at some of Jailton Almeida's performances. A lot of similar things in his heavyweight bouts: takedown, transition through position, submission, or ground and pound. He did it against Jairzinho and Derek Lewis, both guys not known for their grappling or their anti-grappling acumen. I do want to say, though, the Derek Lewis fight was pretty funny. There is max 25 minutes in a mixed martial arts bout, unless you go back to the early days where there would be a round for as long as it needed to be. Jailton Almeida had ground control time of 21 minutes, 10 seconds, 6 takedowns, and 4 submission attempts against Derek Lewis. Cruz was rightly defending Jailton Almeida's game plan of holding him down, not really risking anything so the fight didn't get back to its feet. But it felt like at some points, Jailton Almeida didn't know what to do in mount, and I've seen it trending a little bit in some of his fights where he takes somebody down and gets top control, and he's not really a threat until he flips and gets an opponent's back, to which then he flattens you out. He can find ground and pound finishes from your back or the rear naked choke he loves to sink in. That Derek Lewis fight really did scare me on the Almeida side. He shouldn't have gone 5 rounds with Derek Lewis, and it felt like in the Lewis fight, this was my reaction. Jailton Almeida would land a takedown, he would get slightly missed by a huge Derek Lewis uppercut, would land a takedown, and then I just find myself doing this through the entire fight. 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, because nothing was happening. He would go for sub attempts, Derek Lewis would defend, and Almeida really didn't have much to offer in terms of ground and pound from those positions in and out on the back against a guy like Derek Lewis. But grappling wise, explosive ass takedowns. He's done it in every fight. You see him pick these heavyweights up. He has no problem doing it, slamming them down. He can hold position if he needs to. I'm interested to see what happens when he's on his back. We haven't seen it before. Another scary sight for me when it comes to trying to lay money confidently with the unit plays. And then when you look at his stand-up, it's good. It's nothing to write home about. He does have a better game than most heavyweights, in my opinion, because it can be more diverse. Coming up from lower weight classes, he has head kicks. He's very, very fast, but you've seen him crack before. Shamil landed a nice left hand, and then Jailton goes straight for the takedown. So we haven't seen much of the striking. Jailton was also finished early in his career, and he was put out, and this was at the lighter weight classes. He hasn't been knocked out since that fight way back in the early career, so you can determine how big of an impact that's going to have. Looking at his opponent, Curtis Blaydes, again, stand up, not great. I think Almeida will have the advantage on the feet. He keeps his right hand a little bit too low. His takedowns are kind of telegraphed on the Blaydes side. And as much as I like Blaydes as a boxer, and I do like boxers against kickboxers, and he does pack a big punch. He's a heavyweight. He packs a power shot. He can drop you, that's for sure. But I think Almeida with his head kicks, that's going to be a really important weapon in the stand-up here. The real question is, though, if I was to pick a grappler with these unknown choices here, I would probably go with Curtis Blaydes' style of take you down, hold told you, if Curtis Blaydes gets you in mount, he's going to finish the fight with elbows and ground and pound. But Curtis Blaydes can even finish a fight in full guard with his ground and pound, where I don't see that threat from Almeida. But again, I'm interested to see when Curtis Blaydes takes down a guy that's going to look to transition out of positions off of his back. But sometimes, and most of the time, when you see a jiu-jitsu fighter put on his back, he does have a hard time getting off his back, finding a way out, especially when you're giving up 30 pounds to Curtis Blaydes. So my prediction for the fight, if I was to look at it just from grappling versus grappling, I would side with the ground and pound fighter over the jiu-jitsu guy in a spot like this where I think a lot of their grappling is even. But when you look at Curtis Blaydes, it's the little things that scare me. I would have played Curtis Blaydes on this. The first thing I thought was Jailton Almeida. He's on a crazy run. He's super impressive. Knock people out, ground and pound, huge takedowns. But then you look at the matchup. This is just a horrible matchup for him. So then I sided a little bit with Curtis Blaydes. I'm seeing a huge wave of Curtis Blaydes supporters on social media right now. But then I looked at Curtis Blaydes. I go back into his fights. I don't like his right hand being so low. He is susceptible to getting cracked on the chin. He's been TKO'd a bunch of times, and he's been caught in a lot of fights, which is a little bit worrying to me, even though his boxing's good and he does carry a lot of power. He's quick, and sometimes his shots, they're more telegraphed than Jailton Almeida's, in my opinion. I think Almeida times his takedowns a little bit better. And the question is, can Curtis Blaydes hold Almeida down like he does other heavyweights without the grappling and transition skills that Almeida have? If I was to play the fight, I'd be on Curtis Blaydes at this line, maybe a little bit on a small unit play for Blaydes. But other than that, I would recommend avoiding these for max bets, big plays. Avoid both sides, especially the Almeida side, in my opinion. I think Almeida's going to have a lot of hype going in. The line is actually shifted towards Curtis Blaydes, which the tape would tell me Curtis Blaydes should be favored. But the highlights you're going to see, Almeida's going to get a big push here. And if Almeida defeats Curtis Blaydes, we could see him right up in that title picture, as up there with Tom Aspinall, the Pavloviches of the world, with the top contenders in the division. And if for some reason I would want to go with the Almeida side, I would go for a risk it play, like a sub round 2, sub round 3 at plus 1,000, plus 2,000. But that would be the only play you'd see me on Almeida for. But in my honest opinion, at this point, I'm really not confident enough to make a play, but I would side with Curtis Blaydes. But that'll do it for today's video, guys. If you think my opinion's crazy, let me know yours in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.